We'll begin shortly. We're still.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see everyone out there. Thank you for being here. We're going to start our session. Roll call. Let me make sure I have all my pages in the right order. Okay, let's start. Okay, roll call. Trustee Jacobson.
Present.
Trustee Chavez.
Present.
Trustee Griffin.
Present.
Trustee Andrade Zuniga.
Presente.
And I am present as well. Our student board representatives tonight are, I hope I say this right. If I get it wrong, I apologize. Jesslyn Lai. Did I say that? I think you did. Well, I got James Lazaro. And why don't you say your name?
Zareen Chang.
Zareen Chang. Okay. It's not right here. Okay. Anyway, welcome both of you. It's good to see you. All right. Here, tonight, we have a team from Hannah Interpreting as our Spanish interpreters. For those who would like to attend the meeting virtually in Spanish, that option is available. Hannah Interpreting, would you please communicate that for us this evening? Gracias.
Absolutely. In order to provide language access, this meeting will have simultaneous bidirectional interpretation in Spanish and American Sign Language. If you're bilingual, you don't have to do anything. But if you're not bilingual and you're using your laptop, in a few seconds, you'll see an icon shaped like a globe at the bottom of your screen. Click on Language Interpretation and then select English. If you're using your phone or an iPad, then in a few seconds, locate the three-dot menu in one of the corners of your screen. Click on Language Interpretation and then select English. When you speak, do so at a moderate pace because the interpreters are going to be simultaneously interpreting everything you say. A efecto de proporcionar acceso lingüístico, esta reunión tendrá interpretación al español y lenguaje de señas americano. Si usted es bilingüe, no tiene que presionar nada, pero si usted no es bilingüe y está en su computadora, en unos segundos busque un icono en forma de globo en la parte inferior de su pantalla, haga clic en interpretación y después seleccione español o Spanish. Si está en su iPad o su teléfono, entonces en unos segundos busque el menú de 3 puntos o que dice More en una de las esquinas de la pantalla, haga clic en Interpretación y después seleccione Español o Spanish. Cuando hable, hágalo en español y las intérpretes se encargarán de interpretar al inglés todo lo que usted diga. Gracias. Thank you.
Gracias también. We'll just wait for the interpretation. It's ready. Okay. If you wish to view closed captions for this meeting, please view the meeting on the San Mateo Union High School District's board meeting YouTube channel. This link to the YouTube channel can be found on our website. You may view the captions in English as we live stream our meeting tonight, and you may view the captions in a variety of other languages if you choose to watch this after the meeting has ended. Viewers may request additional accommodations by calling 650-558-2201. For our deaf and hard of hearing community, we have a team from Hannah Interpreting Services, and they will be interpreting our meeting this evening. We would like to ask everyone to speak at a clear and reasonable pace for our interpreters. I know are going pretty fast, so sorry. Thank you. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Superintendent Booker, you up for that? Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Report of actions taken in closed session. In closed session, the board, upon motion of Trustee Griffin and seconded by Trustee Andrade Zuniga, moved to approve 2 special education settlements with a vote of 5-0. Public comments. If you are joining us in person and wish to make a comment about an agenda item during the public comments section at the beginning of the meeting agenda, please fill out one of the requests to address the board forms and submit it, they're blue, submit it to the secretary. This form should be given to the secretary before the agenda item begins. If you are joining us virtually, use the raised hand feature on Zoom to be recognized. When invited to do so by the board president for each item on which you wish to comment, you will be admitted to speak as a panelist during your public comment period. The board president will call on you. Please note that comments are limited to 3 minutes. The board may increase or decrease the time allotted for public comment depending upon the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. So, do we have any online?
No, President Land.
Okay. Are there any in the audience? Do we have any slips?
No, President Land.
Okay, so we can keep moving. Now we're going to be doing governing board comments. Is there any board members who wish to speak? Seeing none? Oh, Trustee Chavez, go ahead. Absolutely. I'm calling on you, Trustee Chavez.
Thank you.
You're up.
I had something that I wanted to say at our last board meeting, and I just figured we had other things to comment last 2 weeks ago. So I want to comment. I moved my comment to today. Many of us know that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I wanted to remind everybody about that. For nearly 4 decades, our country has recognized October as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I think it'll be easier if I read. Breast cancer is the most common cancer in women in the United States, except for skin cancer. Breast cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death in women, second to lung cancer. The death rates associated with breast cancer have been decreasing steadily since 1989, and that's believed. The decline has believed to be the result of finding cancer early through screening and increased awareness. At this time, there are more than 4 million breast cancer survivors in the United States. And I'm one of those survivors. In 2016, I had breast cancer surgery and I had a lumpectomy and I had 5 weeks of radiation. And I'm very grateful to be a breast cancer survivor. Thank you. Thank you. I want to really encourage everyone to have their regularly scheduled mammograms. And also for the men out there, everyone knows somebody who's a female, right? Whether it's a family member, a close friend, aunt, cousin, anybody, right? Please encourage them because that could just save their life. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Griffin.
Well, you know, I can't believe you stole my statement, but, you know, also last week, last board meeting, I wanted to acknowledge that it was breast cancer awareness. And well, that was okay. the statistic to add to that is 1 in every 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their
Mhm.
lifetime, which is pretty, pretty scary.
Mhm.
And according to these statistics, which I did not validate or verify, but certainly it was some articles I was reading in 2023, it's estimated that nearly 300,000 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer, and 44,000 people, which is astounding, will die. So do get screened.
Mhm.
I had my pink shirt on at church, and trying to represent with everyone else.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Excellent. Thank
Trustee
you.
Zuniga, Andrade Zuniga.
First I wanted to start with the land acknowledgement. And this is a land acknowledgement that the students from Cappuccino had developed last year. We acknowledge that our campus lies on the ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone. The Ramaytush are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula, whose land was stolen from them and whose native language was lost because of Spanish colonization. As settlers on the stolen land of the peninsula, we should be, alongside the Ramaytush, remembering and honoring their ancestors and relatives. We thank the first people, the Ramaytush Ohlone, for taking care of the land we use now for education and activities. Our responsibility of caring for the earth is unique and personal to each of us, but should be rooted in allyship with the Ramaytush Ohlone, so we can work together to protect and preserve the land for future generations. I just wanted to mention some things. I attended the Centennial at BHS a couple of weeks ago, and it's nice. It's kind of full circle. My eldest son went to BHS, and then he went to middle college right after. And it just reminded me, being back on campus, it reminded me of the football games and the triple play sandwiches that they used to have that were awesome. But it was just like interesting to see all the generations, and just how much our community really means to us, and what we identify with. It was really interesting. I also wanted to mention that next week is Dia de los Muertos on November 2nd, and there's going to be events all over the Bay Area. A lot of our students at the different campuses are also going to be putting on different events. So please support our students. But this particular day is really important because we celebrate our ancestors, our friends, our family that have passed on. It's a day where we're not afraid of death. It's more of celebration of our humanity, really. So it's really important for people to learn about it. And if you'd like to join us in celebrating, please do. On November 4th, from 9 to 5 at South San Francisco High School, there is going to be a health event called Sana Sana Colita de Rana, which translates to like pretty much like they're there. It's not exactly the translation, but it's like they're there, like you're going to get better, like healing, things like that. And it's put on by the San Mateo County Latinx Collaborative. So there's going to be different workshops and presenters around health specifically for the Latino community. Let me see. I have a few more things I just wanted to mention. Let's see. Hi. Let me scroll this down. Just scroll it down for me. Thank you. Thanks. Many different commissions and boards have a lot of openings right now. Specifically, the Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention Commission, the Youth Commission, the Commission on Disabilities. So I really want to encourage different people, well, students and parents and staff, to get involved more in your communities. After our board meeting a couple of weeks ago, There were some things that I really wanted to say that I didn't get to say. I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for the entire board. But I just wanted to just remind us of our students and that they're watching our behavior, our language, what we're supporting, what we're not supporting, and how we treat each other. We ask our youth to be respectful of each other, to be mindful of each other, to be in community with people and be loving. In the world right now, we have a lot of destruction, a lot of really difficult experiences. I think about my community in Latin America and the genocide that's happened to indigenous people, and that has happened and still happens. So that just makes me feel in solidarity with people that are also going through the same thing. In the past couple of weeks, we've had a 6-year-old boy murdered and his mother also stabbed for being Muslim. There was a mother in the Burlingame district that was spat on and told to go back to her country because she was Muslim. Our ethnic studies curriculum is being attacked. We have an educator in our district that's being attacked, and it's not right. In our country right now, we're having books banned. The Diary of Anne Frank is being banned, but it's not from people who support ethnic studies and are doing positive things to allow our brown and black students and people in our country to feel validated, to feel seen. It's coming from white supremacy. And there's a really good article in El Tecolote newspaper recently about how us fighting each other here in our country is allowing a lot of this violence and a lot of this supremacy to come in and attack us even more. And so we have to be mindful of that. After 2016, there was a huge rise in anti-Semitism, xenophobia, Islamophobia, and it's just been getting worse. And that affects our kids and the way they learn, the way they process information, their fears. So I guess just being mindful of that, that a lot of us go through a lot of issues in the world and with violence, with destruction, and our kids are watching and our kids are feeling this. So, yeah, so that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I wanted to apologize to our Palestinian families and students and educators. I'm apologizing because I should have said more than I did that night, and for reasons that are valid, but I'm sorry if you've also felt scared and unsupported, because we are all part of the same community. We are all here for the same purposes, but we're just all different. So thank you. I just wanted to read a quote that was left. It was by the editor-in-chief, Alexis Terrazas, the editor-in-chief of El Tecolote newspaper. And he says, "May we never stay silent in the face of injustice. May we never lose our humanity. Because in all of this, we have to see our humanity." So thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. Mhm.
Anyone else? I'll take a turn. And I want to thank Trustee Andrade Zuniga for a couple of things. One, unfortunately, I was dealing with a family emergency at that meeting, and she had to chair the meeting instead of me. And thank you for doing so. I think you did a great job. Thank you. You also did a great job doing the centennial for BHS, which I would have loved to have been at too. Unfortunately, again, I was in Los Angeles with my family, and I wish I could have been there. I guess in some reaction to what happened in the last couple of weeks, I would say that as a principal of a middle school that feeds into our high schools, I want our students, whether they're Palestinian, Jewish, I want them to be seen and heard and safe. And, you know, hatred is such an easy way to go, and violence, and it's an easily taught behavior. And I think it's sad that that is what's happening in our world today. And all I can say is I want our children and our students to do better than what we've done. And hopefully we have a better world as a result. So that's my goal. And I hope that continues. So, and that's why I'm here on this board, because I want to see that happen. And it's good to see that we have two new student representatives tonight as well. So that's really great to see. Just a couple things to point out. I was busy this week. On Monday, several of us actually went to the California School Boards Association roadshow from the state of California. The executive director was there with a group. We were at the San Mateo County office. And it was great for new board members to learn what's going on, how our organization really helps and supports our what we do, and helps with legislation that's so important. So great. And thank you, Trustee Chavez and Trustee Andrade Zuniga for being there. Second, I want to really shout out to BHS and their play, the Greek play that is going on right now. I want to say that, you know, I love the fact that they brought students from the middle schools in the area, including mine, to visit and ask questions about the play. They were there today, and it was just a really great experience for them. They came back grinning about how exciting they were and how wonderful it was to be at the high school and see what was going on. Today, I'm a little tired, so I must apologize, but I woke up really early because we had a special Olympics event at my school. Three of our partner districts got together to have a special Olympics soccer skills event, which was amazing. Over 145 special athletes were there, and it was just awesome. So next time I'm going to invite all of you. I feel really bad that I didn't invite the high school. So next time, well, you're all invited, but you don't have to show up. Anyway, so I must apologize if I'm a little tongue-tied today, but anyway, that's it for me. So let's move on. Thank you very much. We're going to go to recognition. So I'm going to turn this over to Superintendent Booker. We have several wonderful recognitions and I'm glad to see the audience being so full.
Thank you so much, President Land. So I think what I'm going to do is go up to the podium there and do the presentation from there so I can hand out certificates and all those kinds of things.
Yay.
While he's going, this is one of my favorite meetings of all time because I get to see all the teachers and getting their tenure, and I think it's amazing.
This is awkward. All right, well, I'm gonna. I know, but I'm gonna start like this. Okay, so last January we had discussions with all the principals in the room to talk about our tenure process. And for those at home, we have certificated staff. Those are our mostly our teachers, but other categories there. And we have our classified staff. Our classified staff are those within classifications that offer district-wide support. And as part of that process, when teachers are at what's called probationary 2 and are on track for tenureship, last school year, this calendar year, January, we sat around with the principals and we had a roundtable discussion around each individual, each employee who, each staff member, each educator who is in line to earn tenureship. And so as we had these discussions, I asked our principals to brainstorm the qualities, traits, characteristics that they would like to see in tenured employees. Tenured employees are those who we're granting a type of status that gives them protections, but also acknowledges that we want them here for a very long time.
And it's a decision that I ask principals not to take lightly. In some respects, it's a 25-year decision. It's a decision that impacts thousands of children over the years. And so in my opinion, it is the most important decisions that principals make. It is the number one aspect, number one characteristic by which I evaluate and judge our principals, because it is so long lasting and so impacting to so many students and so many lives of students and families. So this is an issue or a process that I take very, very seriously. So we sat in this room round the tables and we discussed what they wanted to see. What were the attributes, the characteristics, the traits? And I want to read you this list because this describes all of you. And these are the positive characteristics that they saw, and then we continue to see in our tenured, classified, and certificated staff. And the list goes, these educators are essential, they're invaluable, enthusiastic, exceptional, relationship building, they take initiative, they're confident and collegial, they're collaborative, they work well with their instructional aides and their IEP teams, they're interactive and engaging, they have a keen awareness of student needs, they're communicative, intentional about their teaching, they have a growth mindset, they take feedback to heart, they're instructionally confident, and they know their students and families well. They have strong relationships with students. They can build a team and a positive classroom culture, and all the while they seek feedback to improve. They have an anti-racist approach, and students feel heard in their classrooms. Linked to that, they have excellent classroom management skills. They are welcoming and inclusive. They are thoughtful, student-centered. They're leaders. They're eager to grow. They ask for help. They're equity-minded. They hold the line with students. They're intentional in what they do, and they care very deeply about every single student on our campuses. I was absolutely moved when I heard principals talk that way about the people sitting behind me and those who are at home who couldn't be here. I feel honored and privileged that we can acknowledge our classified and certificated staff that have earned tenure status. It is a big, big deal. I congratulate them wholeheartedly. I'm so glad that they've stuck it out with us too. Educators have lots of choices. They have a lot of school districts from which to choose. And these are educators behind me and also online or at home that chose to stick with us. And as we all know, there's a national, state, Bay Area teaching shortage. We have a hard time finding bus drivers. We have a hard time finding mental health therapists. It's not easy. And so I'm grateful for the staff and the educators that are becoming tenured this evening. And so with that, I'd like to start with our classified staff. I'm going to read from our certificates here. Not everyone is here, so I'm going to read the name. If you're here, great, come on over and I will congratulate you. And if you're not here, well, I'll give you a high five some other time. All right. And if I mispronounce your name, I am so sorry. Alyssa Gutierrez, she here. She's not, I'm going to just hand you these. Okay. But I think it's important that everyone hears the names. Philip Iniguez, Robert DiMartini, Wasam Banyayub, Betsy Delgadillo, Brianna Ledesma. Thank you. For those at home, we sent an invite out to everyone, but we need to do a better job, obviously, or I need to do a better job of the RSVP list. Anthony Gonzalez, Courtney Walker, Cynthia Sandoval, Bei Zhao, Carolina Barazza, Robert Gonzalez, Pedro Sandoval, Ronaldo Martinez, Jaime Rivera Enriquez, Faye Cruz. This is reminding me of when I used to do at graduation, names across the stage. Emilio Decourt, Brian Yi, Melissa Rodriguez, Nancy Frazier. We got a lot of certificates. This is awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of classified staff. I know. Jorge Beltranena. Yeah.
Bravo, bravo.
You're welcome. Congratulations. Absolutely. Jocelyn Morales. Okay. Nicholas Bryant. Alice Cheng. Peter Green. Rocio Pereira Vega. Douglas Mejia Amador. Sandra Wong. Monica Trujillo. Queenie Hua. You hear? Or we're just shouting out. I love it. We're just shouting out. You will. That's super nice. Like at the Oscars. That's definitely something half of. So great. Ofa Matale. Alejandro Martinez. Diego Salazar Blas. Armando Camacho. Carolina Rivera. I know you're all waiting until I drop one of these. I can tell. I can feel it. Eric Vences. Carrie Larat. Anahita Graharamini. I don't think I said that last name right. I did the best I could. Jade Tijero. Yes? Oh, is it possible? Did I jump into certificated already? I am so sorry. Well, we called your name. Come on down. I love it. It's okay. Yeah.
Bravo.
Congratulations. Yes. Jade, thank you. Yeah. And I know we've got Robin Clemens here from CSCA. We've got Craig Childress and Rachel Lauderdale, and they're going to have a chance to speak as well. I will invite them up. And I'm sorry, there's just a lot here. So I think we're on certificated now. No, that just got a mix up. Okay. Well, you know, we're just going to roll with it. It's okay. We're in a friendly crowd here. Allison Ross. Woo! Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I did.
He dropped one.
I did. Oh, thanks. Jocelyn Badra. Okay.
Thanks. I lost the bet. I said you weren't going to drop it.
Oh, well, I did. Aaron Cantor. Yay. Kayla King. Yay. Yeah. Okay. Jeanette Baracco. It's Jeanette here. Yes. I'm not going to drop it this time. I'm going to go like that, and then I'm going to shake your hand. Congratulations. Okay, Lane Paulus. All right. Did I say your last name? Okay. Congratulations. Yeah. Pauline Ahuna. Karen Chu. Gabriela Gelb. Neil Urquidez. Okay. Oh yeah, great. Hand me a ton of them. All right, here we go. Elise Tota. Sandra Elion Lopez. Kusum Roy. Sinem Konka. Sylvia Lopez. Rose Kathleen De Leon. Waitak Wu. Yvonne Gonzalez. Janice Fuentes. Sophia Sun. Tatiana Rojas. Elizabeth Walters. I don't. Rochelle Quiliza Buenaflor. Gaspar Valdivias. Tina Napatian. Maria Villalobos. Daniela Clemish. James Abieta III. I like that. Okay. Olena Babic. Berta Gibson. Jasmine Andrade. Michelle DiPia. Maritza Fernandez. Anthony Chiapari. Justin Ferrer. Okay. Jose Cabeza. Rosie Bautista. Gregory Moore. Kirthi Singhal. Tammy Leung. Jeanette Duncan. Eliza Lazaro. Yes. Yes. All right. Herman Morales Perez Jr. Blanca Nava. Alma Willard. Stephanie Wong. Consuelo Gonzalez. David Lopez. Tiamane Lagarajeros. And Nancy Huerta. I think that's all of our classified staff, right? Okay, if I missed someone, I'm so sorry. Come yell at me afterward and I'll give you lots of high fives. But I want to just say congratulations to our classified staff. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for everything you do to support the district. Really, truly, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to certificated. Okay, John Abrams. Okay. Kelsey Walton. Kiana Reyes. Nicholas Lobato. Oh, yes. Yes. Congratulations. I will. Yes, I definitely will. I was reminded to give a shout out for our Mills Special Olympics kickball tournament tomorrow. I'll be there. I can't wait. All right, Jenna Meyer. Okay. Melanie Jousher. Yeah. Thank you. Rima Asia. Catherine Bozanoff. Jennifer Martinez. Kyoko Yamamoto. Taylor White. Yeah, well, listen, shout out Taylor White. Yeah. Elizabeth Wall. Yeah, why not? Cynthia Henderson. Ogechi Ibianusi. Okay. Jonathan Fong. Yeah. Very great. Joseph Naple. Yeah. Whoa, someone's coming over to video. There you go. Yeah. Really great. Margaret Marshall. Carol Hardesty. Wendy Avina. Yeah. Congratulations. Joseph Gomez. Satish Pariar. Okay, Emily Bohorquez. Did I say that right? Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Okay, Tai Diep Nguyen. Regina Wiggins. Nicolette Landucci. Is that everyone? Does everyone? I hope I didn't miss anyone. Awesome. Congratulations. So this is what I'd like to do. Don't leave. Don't leave. So this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to invite Robin Clemens to come up first to say a few words about classified staff. And then I'm going to invite Rachel and Craig, or just I'm not sure who, both, all are welcome to say a few words. And then what I want to do is move this, and we're all going to pile in the front here and look this way and take a big group picture. Okay. So first, let me invite Robin and then Craig and Rachel. So thank you.
Good evening, everyone. That was a huge undertaking. Satish is actually classified and not certificated. I'm just saying, but congratulations, Jorge, for being here. He's great and it's a big support. And thanks to all the classified staff that have made it through their probation, and you're here to stay. And I appreciate it, and everybody else here. But thank you. Those are my
Yay, both of you.
We get both of us tonight.
I love it. In person.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm Craig Childress. I'm the president of the Teachers Association, and this is Rachel Lauderdale. She's the vice president.
Yeah. Yeah. So like Greg said, this is one of our favorite times of the year. At the end of a very, very long month for us as educators. It's so nice to celebrate the accomplishments of reaching permanent status in our district. There's a lot that goes into reach this point in our district. We're lucky to be a district that is sought out by educators. They want to come here and work here because we're really awesome. I can't say it any other way. They go through sometimes more than 2 years of evaluation and coaching to reach permanent status. And it means work security. It means that our educators can contribute to our community for the long term. It means that they know that their learning, love, and energy is working towards the longevity of a collective good for our students. We are incredibly proud to stand next to and with the educators in our district as they celebrate this accomplishment. We're happy to also give permanent markers for permanent status.
Aww.
Long time. It's been a long
I
time.
like it.
So we have them for everybody in person, and we'll send to everybody online your permanent markers through the snail mail. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. We
Aw.
appreciate you.
Congratulations. Thank you both.
Okay, so we're going to dismantle this really quickly, and then we're going to pile in all of our permanent staff. Please, we're going to pile in over here. Tech, if I could get your support on how I'm going to move this. I don't want to mess this up.
Yeah, I know.
Well, our sarcastic humor is not going to go very well. You're sarcastic and I'm sarcastic. Exactly. Yes. Well, clearly, we'd love to be part of it. All right, let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, we're gonna get through
Oh, man. I'm slightly injured from a staff versus softball at Bayside yesterday. On top of all the other things I did. Oh, and then I'm sore. I twisted something. While everyone's settling in, just thank you so much and congratulations to everyone. Let me know when we want to get going. All right.
Did you know that that's?
Okay. So we are moving on to other recognition. We have a proclamation for the National Native American Heritage Month. I'm going to turn that over to Superintendent Booker.
Thank you very much. So tonight, to honor National Native American Heritage Month, we have Jamie Lazaro, an 11th grader from Mills High School, and a member of our Student Board Representative Council who will read our proclamation. So I'm going to hand it off.
Thank you very much, Superintendent. All right, I will begin. San Mateo Union High School District proclamation recognizing November 1st to 30th, 2023 as National Native American Heritage Month. Whereas National Native American Heritage Month recognizes the lives and accomplishments of the indigenous peoples of what is now known as the United States. And whereas in celebrating and recognizing National Native American Heritage Month this year, the U.S. Department of the Interior has adopted the theme celebrating tribal sovereignty and identity. The Department of the Interior reminds us that National Native American Heritage Month is a time to celebrate the traditions, languages, and stories of Native American, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian, and affiliated island communities, and ensure their rich histories and contributions continue to thrive with each passing generation. And whereas the 56th Annual Native American Day was celebrated at the California Capitol on September 22nd, 2023, this year's theme was protecting our people through sovereignty, past, present, and future. And whereas Indigenous peoples have made distinct and important contributions to California, the United States, and the rest of the world in many different ways. And whereas today there are more than 100 federally recognized Indigenous tribes in California, more than any other state in the nation. And whereas the United States Bureau of the Census determined that in 2020, that there were over 720,000 individuals in the state of California of Native American descent, making it the largest population of Indigenous people in the 50 states. And whereas Americans of all ages recognize the outstanding achievements and contributions of this nation's original inhabitants and their descendants. And whereas at the time of first European contact, the San Francisco and Monterey Bay areas were the home of, were the home to over 50 Indigenous tribes, each with its own territories. And whereas today, the independent tribes of the San Francisco Peninsula are known collectively as the Ramaytush Ohlone people. And whereas the ancestral past of the Ramaytush Ohlone people spanned 10,000 years, reaching back to the Ice Age and predating European contact that just happened a few hundred years ago. And whereas San Mateo Union High School District and our community recognize the importance of understanding the history of this area, particularly with regard to the Ramaytush Ohlone people who lived here first. And whereas the San Mateo Union High School District Governing Board acknowledges San Mateo Union High School District schools and properties are located on the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. And whereas the San Mateo Union High School District Board of Trustees hereby authorizes and encourages cultivation of a relationship with the Ramaytush Ohlone to develop ways that we can teach our students and our community about the lives and accomplishments of local Indigenous peoples. And whereas the San Mateo Union High School District Board of Trustees hereby supports the use of curricula at our schools every year to help students understand the importance of Native American Heritage Month. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the San Mateo Union High School District Board of Trustees recognizes November as National Native American Heritage Month.
Team, thank you. Well done.
I have a comment.
Let's.
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank
very
you.
fair. On November 3rd, in San Francisco and the East Bay will be the 48th Annual American Indian Film Festival. There's going to be about 60 different feature films, narrative and animated shorts, music videos, and documentaries, all about American Indians in the United States. So
Thank you. I'm entertaining a motion.
I move.
Okay, so moved by trustee Andrade Zuniga.
I'll
Is there
second that.
a second by trustee Chavez. Any other comments? I just want to say thank you for reading that. Very well
I want
done.
to say a
Yes.
comment
Okay.
that
You
Jamie's
can
mo-
actually
I-
talk.
can I?
Yeah.
Is it Jaime or Jamie?
It's Jamie.
Jamie.
Jamie's mother just received the 10-year certificate.
All
Yeah,
right.
so that's great, right?
Oh,
It's just a family affair right here. So
A double win tonight.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Got it.
Jamie did an
Okay.
excellent job reading. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, a lot to celebrate. Okay, there has been a motion and a second. All those in favor of the proclamation, please say aye.
I
Any opposed? Hearing none. The proclamation is approved unanimously. Thank you. I believe we have another one.
Yes, so this evening, we also have a proclamation on National Homeless Youth Awareness Month. This is our second proclamation tonight, and it's to recognize the month of November as National Homeless Youth Awareness Month. And I'll read the proclamation.
Before you read that,
Mhm.
there were just an edit that I wanted to make. In one of the lines, it didn't name some people that we do also support here in our district. So I wanted to see if we could edit it to Latin American students, and maybe students also from the Middle East, like a big, more generalized, because there are so many students that we have here from different parts of the world. So if that's okay, can we edit it?
So what I'll do, I just took down some notes. Let me read it with the edits. And it's going to be in the 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph where I'll add Latin American students and students from the Middle East. And then I'll read it. And if that's acceptable by the board, you can make a motion, a second, vote to approve it with the edits, if they stand. Right. Does that sound okay? Okay. San Mateo Union High School District proclamation recognizing November 1st through 30th, 2023 as National Homeless Youth Awareness Month. Whereas defined by the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, youth and children experiencing homelessness are individuals who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence, including those sharing the housing of other persons due to loss of housing, economic hardship, or a similar reason, are living in motels, hotels, trailer parks, or camping grounds due to the lack of adequate alternative accommodations, are living in emergency or transitional shelters. And whereas the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act further defines youth and children experiencing homelessness as those who have a primary nighttime residence that is a public or private place, not designated for or ordinarily used as regularly sleeping accommodations for human beings, children and youths who are living in garages, sheds, cars, parks, public spaces, abandoned buildings, substandard housing, bus or train stations, or similar settings. And whereas the population of youth experiencing homelessness also include unaccompanied youth who have left home for 1 or more nights without permission, youth who have been kicked out of their homes, are abandoned, deserted, or prevented from returning home, and systems youth who have either aged out of foster care or have been released from juvenile justice or other public systems with nowhere to go. And whereas furthermore, the U.S. has welcomed record numbers of newly arrived immigrant and refugee youth into classrooms from South America, Latin America, the Middle East, Afghanistan, and Ukraine, many of whom are unaccompanied minors who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence and are eligible to receive services under Title VI, Subtitle B of the McKinney-Vento Act. And whereas November is National Homeless Youth Awareness Month, Every year, hundreds of thousands of American families become homeless, including more than 1.7 million children. And whereas according to the United Health Foundation, families with children made up nearly 30% of the total homeless population in 2022, with about 51,000 family households experiencing homelessness in one single night. More than 30,000 unaccompanied youth under the age of 25 experienced homelessness in a single night that year, 9% of whom were children under 18. And whereas according to the 2022 report published by the National Alliance to End Homelessness in California, there were 171,521 people experiencing homelessness, or 43.9 per 10,000 people in the general population, and 1,808 people experiencing homelessness on any given night in San Mateo County, or 24.5 per 10,000 people in the general population. And whereas the United Health Foundation reported that 3.8% of public schools in California lacked a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. Whereas according to the district's annual census, 75 of our current students are experiencing homelessness in San Mateo Union High School District. And whereas due to the varying definitions of homelessness and the difficulty in capturing accurate data, the statistics do not necessarily reflect the numbers caught in the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act. San Mateo Union High School District has established programs to best assist schools in the alignment of services to serve students and their families best. And whereas San Mateo Union High School District is committed to improving student equity and access to high-quality education and resources, included but not limited to school supplies, food, clothing, bus passes, free admission to dances, yearbooks, and school apparel for youth experiencing homelessness and who are in foster care through our district and school site homelessness student liaisons. And whereas San Mateo Union High School District is further committed to the socio-emotional health of students experiencing homelessness and who are in foster care through the district's mental health services. Therefore, be it resolved that the San Mateo Union High School District hereby adopts this resolution to recognize November as National Homeless Youth Awareness Month.
Thank you.
I have a comment.
Okay.
There is a really good documentary called A Rising Tide that Assembly Member Mia Bonta will be screening on November 6th at 6 p.m. And it talks about unhoused families in the Bay Area. And just remember, the proclamations are great, resolutions are great, but action should be behind it. And when we have programs like Project Home Key and things like projects like that in the county, remember that when you support programs like that, you're supporting unhoused families. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the reading. Is there a motion and a second for the proclamation?
I have a question, and this is not, well, maybe it's picky, but isn't South America a subset of Latin America? And we're proposing to say South America and Latin America in the edit?
No, just Latin America. Well, I was proposing just Latin America
Okay.
Get rid of South
because we
America
have
then.
Central America, Mexico.
Yeah, okay,
Central,
when I heard
it would
it,
be Central and South America or Latin America would
Mhm.
be more.
so
inclusive.
it's gonna just be Latin America.
There we
Okay,
go.
that's fine. I just,
By the same token, would it make sense to say Middle East and cut Afghanistan?
Well, though, yeah, it was like the more generalized. That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking.
Afghanistan technically can be part of Asia just as much as you.
Hmm.
So it's
Okay.
not part of the Middle East,
Oh, okay. Thanks for the correction.
technically. Very technically though. All right.
I'll second.
Okay, so who made the motion?
Oh.
Okay, so trustee, I don't know who made it.
No one made it.
No one made it. So
No.
I didn't hear it. So trustee,
it was a
Cha-
ghost motion.
it was a ghost motion.
I'll
So
make the motion. And
trustee Chavez is making the motion with the amendments. Seconded by trustee Andrade Zuniga. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I have to ask a question of point of order. Did I make a mistake by not including the students to be able to vote, should they have voted first before I did my vote?
Technically, yes, but I hear them voting yes. I can hear them. So
If
I'm
you assert yourselves,
I'm
and say
recording it in my
aye,
notes.
I will include it as unanimous. Okay. If you have an opposition, you can say that there's an opposition, and I'll note that, and we'll do a roll call. Okay. All right. Sorry. I just wanted to make sure they were included. Okay. All right. So moving on to the consent agenda. Does anyone want to pull the item or have anything to say about the consent agenda item?
I'll move adoption.
Okay, motion for adoption.
Second.
Motion adopted by trustee Griffin, seconded by trustee Andrade Zuniga, the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried. The consent agenda is passed. Moving on to regular reports. Report of the superintendent.
Yes, thank you very much. All right, a couple of things. As we mentioned earlier, as I was up at the podium, we have our Special Olympics kickball tournament tomorrow at Mills. Our district and the Special Olympics of Northern California Schools Partnership Program are hosting a Special Olympics Unified Kickball Tournament at Mills tomorrow, 9:45 a.m. until noon on the Mills football field. This is just, I want to make it real clear out to the community. This is not a come one, come all. We're announcing that this is happening, but I'm not inviting the community to come participate. This is for staff and students only. So please know that. But the tournament is open to any and all SMUHSD students. So if I have students that are available and want to participate, then come on over. More than 200 students from our district and 80 adults are planning to take part in the event. 8 teams will be competing. And last year I went to the soccer tournament that was held at Cappuccino, and it was so much fun. And I'm really looking forward to it. And Principal Wisniewski from Mills told me that we've got like shirts to wear, and we're going to be part of the cheer team and all kinds of stuff tomorrow. So I'm really excited about it. And it also gets me out of my office a little bit on a Friday. So I also want to acknowledge that because we don't have a board meeting before this, November 11th is Veterans Day. And it's a federal holiday and a holiday in our district, which this year will be observed on Friday, November 10th. It's a day meant to honor all veterans of the uniformed services who serve or are still serving during times of peace as well as war. And on a personal note, on November 11th, my dad would have turned 104. He was born in 1919. My dad served as a captain during World War II with the 10th Mountain Division, served in the Italian Alps, and was awarded the Order of the Crown of Italy and a meritorious service citation for his service there. I'm really proud of my dad's service. My grandfather was also a colonel during World War II. I wear my dad's dog tags around my neck in memory of him. And he and his father, his sister, and his mother are all buried in the National Cemetery here in San Bruno off of Sneath. And so I bring my family for those celebrations on Veterans Day. It's pretty amazing if you haven't been over there, what they do. So I just want to acknowledge that, and all the service people within our community, families, friends, loved ones, people serving overseas. We honor you and appreciate you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the report. Report of the student representatives. This is the time you guys get to talk. So introduce yourselves and start your report.
Hi, my name is Reen Chang. I'm super excited to be able to talk more about Mills as one of the student board member representatives. Some things that have been on at Mills is that we've just finished our Spirit Week, our Homecoming Spirit Week, just last week. We had our homecoming rally on October 20th, and the theme was Under the Sea. Just like freshmen were SpongeBob, sophomores were Patrick, juniors was Mr. Krabs. We also had our homecoming dance just this past Saturday in the East Gym, and it was really, really fun. We had a lot of student participation and student engagement in that. Another thing that's been happening is that our show Sense and Sensibility, our preview night, is actually happening right now, which is why one of our representatives, Bianca Santos, who is supposed to be with us here today, is actually part of the crew of the show. So unfortunately, she isn't here today, but Jamie is here as a replacement. And just circling back to what President Land and Superintendent Booker was speaking, Mills, we are having a Special Olympics tournament tomorrow with schools like Hillsdale, Aragon, which I'm actually helping out with tomorrow. Mills leadership is also creating posters and getting ready for a great Friday tomorrow, along with the PE teacher, Miss Peterson, who is also organizing the leader of this event, I think. The other thing that's been happening is that 8th grade family night is happening on November 1st, I think. And some other things that have been happening is that there's a lot of different workshops and college visits happening this past couple months at Mills. And yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Good evening. My name is Jamie Lazaro, and I'll be talking about some things that have been going on at Middle College.
Yay.
I got the entire Middle College team back there.
I think we're having a report on that tonight. Anyway.
Yeah. So one really big thing that has occurred, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago, was a field trip to UC Berkeley, and the entire Middle College team, all the students, we went ahead and we went to UC Berkeley, and that was really fun. And we also managed to get into the Exploratorium over in SF, and that was really, really fun too. And I absolutely loved it. Another thing that's happening are the Penny Wars, and it's an initiative taken up by one of the Middle College clubs called MC Effect. And they're more or less a philanthropic group that help women in Guatemala start businesses and help them lift themselves out of poverty. And so it's an annual thing. And around this time, all the advisories, all the classrooms, they have these huge jugs. And the competition is to, collect money and see who gets to have the most money at the end. And the winning advisor gets a wonderful trophy, and the losing advisory, they get to do something. I believe they're going to be catering food to the other advisories. So that's definitely going to be really, really fun. But, in the end, it's really for a good cause, and it really entices community engagement. And I believe that's it.
Thank you.
Oh, excellent.
Very nice.
Oh,
go ahead.
We also wanted to talk about what we talked at our recent meeting. So we talked about 2 things called Grows and Glows, and we learned more about ELD programs. And we also, one of the things that we wanted to improve was probably like student inclusivity from like different schools. Like, for example, Mills, Burlingame, Hillsdale. We might, like, as students, we might not really know the communities at the other schools. And we were hoping as a board, we would be able to create like events where we can kind of bond with each other. And one of our ideas that we kind of brainstormed in the meeting was like a teen wellness retreat. So like, as you know, like as high schoolers, we might face like a lot of mental health issues. And what we were planning to do was kind of have like create a safe space for like students at Mills, Hillsdale, Aragon, Cappuccino, like everyone from the school district, to be able to meet new people and also participate in like stress relieving activities like therapy dogs, or like creating like stress relief balls with like flour. And so we were hoping that we were able to kind of implement this program as well.
And I believe at our last meeting, we also discussed the ELD programs that the district is doing, and we learned about the components of English learners or ELD, and the specific data regarding the ELD program and how it's been working for the past couple of years. And that was really intriguing and really interesting to learn about.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing about that. We like that. Okay, we're going to move on to the report of the District Teachers Association representative, Mr.
Good
Childress.
evening, President Land, members of the board, district cabinet. First, I'd like to again celebrate and congratulate all the educators who were recognized earlier this evening. This milestone in your career, a benchmark of sorts, represents not only your hard work and achievements, but also a genuine commitment from the district in support of your dedication to the teaching profession. Good luck. I also want to express our sympathy and support for all the innocents of the Levant who have experienced horrible and violent conditions over the past few weeks. We all support all of the members of our community with friends and family abroad who may have experienced unnecessary loss, unbearable fear, and uncertainty for the future of their loved one's safety in the area. We also support the parents of our community with affected families, both here and abroad, and their genuine fear of their students' safety and the uncertainty and politically charged nature of the current events. We support all the teachers, staff, and administrators, indeed all of the educators of this district, in their charge to manage not only a challenging time for the profession, but also as they manage their own fears, uncertainty, and care for their loved ones. Most of all, as educators, we support all students, especially those who have been touched by the extreme events we are all currently witnessing. We support students who are fearful, who are stressed, who are upset, who are hurting, who are confused, who are sad, and those who are simply uninformed. Our role as educators is to facilitate student growth and achievement, to lift up and support all students, and yes, to keep all students safe and in a safe learning environment. This is also a time when educators need additional support to be successful in these roles. This is a time to support the educators in their role, to support all students, your students, my students. It is not supportive to make false and unfounded accusations about educators' disregard for student safety. It is not supportive to tear down with false accusations of subversion of the very structures that maintain and support that student safety. Paraphrasing Mr. Booker from the last meeting, learning cannot occur unless a student feels safe. Our educators are dedicated, intelligent, thoughtful, and professional. Our educators do nothing without first establishing a safe learning environment. Suggesting otherwise is offensive and insulting. Despite what you might think, the educators in this district did not choose their career path for all of the fame and fortune. Pause for laughter. Rather, they chose this profession because of their love for learning, their care for their students, and for the betterment of society. The teachers who were recognized earlier, as I mentioned, are near the beginning of their careers. Many, if not most of the educators in our district have dedicated decades, if not their entire adult lives, to the service of the students and family of this community. These are indeed challenging times. This is a time to support your students. This is a time to support your teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said.
Yeah.
Report of the CSEA Chapter 519 representative.
Good evening, everyone. Again, I wish I could be as eloquent as Mr. Childress, of course, but I'm not. But thank you so much for having us and celebrating the classified staff, because that's really important. They do bring a huge value to the campuses. You can see how lovely they are. And the kids getting the extra support from the IAs in the classrooms. Classified are pretty much everywhere you look or don't look. They're all there supporting us. And it's fabulous to have this community of people that support each other. It's great that they can intermingle between schools and keep things going steady. I think the student participants had mentioned, not participants. Representatives. Thank you. Mentioned like cross-school, conversation and integration, because we are very isolated in our different worlds. I'm in the maintenance and operations area. I'm trying to break out a little bit more. Granted, I work with the environmental health and safety aspects of hazardous waste, but that's just a science. I need to see everybody else. And so I spent a couple days at the DO working this week, and I'm going to do that at each of the school sites to make the classified staff feel more involved in what's going on. We'll have larger turnouts at our meetings. We have over 500 people in our union, and they're great to work with, and I really appreciate all their extra effort. So we're working very well with staff and administrators and those in charge. so bad with titles, but thank you so much. Mr. Hawkins and I had a lovely meeting today, just sitting looking at the birds at the bay. It's the best place really to have meetings. You can just relax, and it was fabulous. But it helps us work through those crunchy conversations, which I love that term. Thank you very much. And our easy conversations, which we had all easy today, if you ask me. But I appreciate everyone working together to make this happen. And thank you again for including the classified in the recognition tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving to the report of the San Mateo Adult School Teachers Association.
We have Jessica Gianbruno with us via Zoom.
Okay. Hi,
Thank you.
Jessica.
Hi, so I'm Jessica Gianbruno. I'm an advanced ELD teacher at the San Mateo Adult School, and I'm also the union secretary, and I'm also a mother. That's why I'm doing this from home, because I have no childcare for tonight. So I appreciate being able to come on Zoom. I wanted to thank the board for ratifying our teacher contract recently. It was my first time being on the negotiation team, and I learned a lot. After watching the presentation this evening about the tenured teachers, I'm hoping that we can continue our talk about getting tenured status for some of the adult school teachers. I was very glad for the experience being on the negotiation team. And I also thank you, the board, for ratifying our contract, and to invite you to our Halloween celebration at our school. Tonight, I've heard a lot of talk of building the community and bringing different parts of the community together. And I think that the community building we do at our school with like Halloween activities are really great for building that sense of community. And we're going to have a parade, door decoration competition, pumpkin carving competition, and they are encouraged to bring characters and symbols from their own country and incorporate those in the different decorations. And it's at 10:50 in the morning or 8:20 at night. We have two programs. I was asked to share some data that's been going on at our campus, and we have two transition navigators, which have been fabulous, Patty Villar and Dina Suarez. This semester, they have met with every single low and high advanced ESL student to talk about counseling. Usually they do it on an at-need basis, but in the fall, they meet with every single student. And San Mateo Adult School continues to have very strong relationship with College of San Mateo. We had 31 students enroll in the college pronunciation class that meets on our campus. And we had 29 students participate in college information sessions, and 45 students they hosted 2 tours of the college. And we also have had, with our consortium, we've had the ABE and ASE, the Adult Basic Ed. We've had over 300 students enrolled. And with our career technical education, that's growing a lot. And we have 360 students. I think some of the things holding it back from growing even further are just classroom space. And our English as a second language program in our consortium has about 3,200 students. And we have all different age groups. We have 18-year-olds up to 60 plus, and most of our students fall in the 22 to 40-year-old range. And I was also asked to tell you we have lots of transitions. So we're trying to help our students move into college, career, and community. And we have had 80 students go to post-secondary education and 690 enter employment. And yeah, so that's where we are right now. So thank you very much for letting me share our school.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to move on to special reports and appearances. I'm going to turn it over for the spotlight on student learning to Superintendent Booker.
Thank you. So this evening, we've got Mr. Don Scatena. He's our Director of Student Services, but he's also our Principal of Middle College. And I've asked him this evening to give us a presentation on the comings and goings of Middle College. And it's an awesome program, and it's a program with which we're all proud. So I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Scatena.
President Land, Board of Trustees, student representatives, and district cabinet, we're very excited to present Middle College here this evening, program that is ever evolving over the many years. And we have many of our staff here this evening to present. Our first up is going to be Greg Lance to share a bit of the background.
Not Greg Land, but
I was
Greg
gonna say,
Lance.
I was a little worried for a second, but I'm glad you're here.
Good evening. It is we are very excited to be here today to tell you about our program. And I'm especially excited because there is a mother of a graduate on the board, and there is a current student sitting on my left, and there was a mother in the back who also received recognition today. So I feel very at home. It's like this is a Middle College place. Our program is a very unique one in this district, but it's not a unique one in the country. It's part of a network of schools that were created in order to try and create smaller learning communities that would better serve students and help them receive a more personalized educational experience. Our program serves a wide range of students who come to us for a variety of reasons. Many are the first in their family to go to college. Many have not felt like they belonged or had a voice in their earlier schooling. And all of them are seeking a unique, challenging experience that will help them achieve their goals. Students in our program take high school English and social science from teachers like ourselves, and they complete the rest of their requirements for graduation through taking college courses. Rather than asking students to take the often expensive leap of going directly to college and hoping that everything works out, our program allows students to learn how to navigate college courses and systems while receiving support from faculty and staff while they're still in high school. Many of our students graduate having accumulated enough units to graduate from college in 3 years once they graduate from our program. We aim to offer an academic environment where students can engage in productive struggle with content they care about, along with also being able to put just as much effort into creating an inclusive, supportive community where all students feel a sense of belonging and are nurtured in ways that allow them to express the amazing human beings they are, present company included.
So the history, this year, we celebrate our 25th year of Middle College. 25 years ago, 1998, Greg Quigley was the principal with a 2-person staff, 2 teachers, about somewhere between 50 and 60 students annually. That program in its creation, the bones and foundation of the work still exists even today. In our years ago, though, the school board, Trustee Griffin was with the group who really wanted to see a deep dive into the possibility of an expansion of the program with the support of Dr. Scully and the board and some very dedicated teachers. We looked into sort of what were some of the reasons why we couldn't expand or what would be the advantages of expansion. So we took a deep dive into the data of outcomes, why students, specifically first-generation students and students of color, were not transferring after 2 years in the community college to degree programs and university. And we believed that if we had students with 2 years of high school support, we could see those numbers improve. And so we began with the the discussion of the expansion by discussing the whys with the students. We went to the students, interviewed many different student groups at San Mateo, at Aragon, at Mills, at Cappuccino, to find out what were some of the obstacles, what were some of the reasons why students were not applying or would not apply. And overall, there were many different reasons, but overall, it was the messaging. Back then, if a program was only 50 or 60 students, you would feel like I could only apply if I knew how to apply or who to apply through. The messaging was probably a flyer in the counseling office. It was a discussion with the counselor, things of that nature. Around that time is when we decided to shift. The shift was that we would give all the sophomores the exact same message, that middle college is for them if they wanted to come. And we began that process of opening our doors. We got much support for the expansion over the years. You could see that we went from a school of about 55 to maxing out our space in 2017. Then around 2018, we moved up to about 140 students. In 2019, about 180 students. We saw our greatest growth actually in the middle of the pandemic. So in 2020 is when we saw many students looking for the possibility of middle college. And all the way up to this year, where we have about 210 students in the program and thriving. Here's a little timeline of that expansion. You can see how we added staff throughout the time, how we targeted the staffing and the growth, where we have a variety. You'll learn more later about the specifics about who is on staff, what they do, how they perform their duties. But it just illustrates here that I want to highlight in 2021-22 was the first year that we were overprescribed, that more students wanted to come than we had space available. I also want to point out during the same growth is also the expansion of our dual enrollment programs throughout our district. And so you have more and more students taking college courses and completing college courses than ever before. So our growth was intentional. We have more first generation college bound students than ever before. We have more students of color than ever before in the program, percentage wise, but also percentage wise, but also in numbers. And we will continue with that work and that vision. To illustrate that, we have a couple, a former student, a graduate, and we have a current student who would like to speak to you. We recorded them so that we could honor their time with their studies. And so we'd like to show that for you here today.
My name is Dawes. I'm a senior at Stanford Middle College program. And I've never felt so loved and supported like I do in a small yet diverse community, which is quite surprising because I am a social person, but the opportunity, I think, to form such mature relationships with not only students, but teachers too, is very rare in high school and the age. And I think I really jackpot because my junior and senior year have been off the charts to what it would have been if I stayed at my home school. And even the middle college so much, I come early and I stay late after school. And I just think the more independence, the more experience, and even the more responsibility has made middle college like my home.
That was our current student.
Hi, my name is Bella and I was part of the middle college class of 2022 and my home school was Aragon. And the big reason why I chose to come to middle college and what made it so special for me was the one-on-one connections that I was able to form with my teachers both junior and senior year, which is something that I didn't really get to do at Aragon, so that was really important to me. And I know that this one-on-one attention really benefited me both personally and academically. And I also really valued the emphasis on the community well-being of all of the students there at middle college.
Next, I'd like to invite Andrea Visner up to discuss. It's a collaboration, right? We don't do it by ourselves. We do it in conjunction and collaboration with the College of San Mateo. And we'd like to invite her up to show our appreciation for that collaborative work.
Thank you, Principal Skatina. Nice to be here. Good evening, board members, colleagues of the San Mateo Union High School District. Appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit of our involvement with the middle college program at CSM. I'm fairly new at CSM, my first year, and so it's been a year of discovery, beginning to learn what we can do more effectively as a college to serve the middle college students. Excuse me, I can't breathe all of a sudden. But really get to know the staff and really get to better understand how our facilities, how our classroom experiences, the connections to the college courses can really be designed in a way that make the program more dynamic. And so wanted to share a few of those things with you this evening, really spending a lot of time reimagining what this partnership looks like. So it's not transactional, but more transformational. We spent some time putting together some welcome kits. So as a middle college student, you're not just part of middle college within SMUHSD, you're also a College of San Mateo college student. And so really looking at the ways that we can expand access to college course unit. So really focusing on dual enrollment with the instructors this year has been some powerful work. We've also purchased around $50,000 worth of technology to be integrated into the classrooms in Building 12. We're really looking at the math pathways for students to make sure that we're providing seamless connections from advanced algebra into our college level math courses. In addition to that, we are in the process of sourcing a counselor who can directly support middle college students in their transition. For those of you who attended the college graduate or the high school graduation last year, you realize, I remember seeing you there, about 50% of the graduating class actually matriculated to College of San Mateo. So we see an incredible value in this partnership and making sure that we are doing all that we can to support the great work that's happening. We're also really looking at career readiness and our work-based learning partnerships and really building more robust connections in the work that's happening in the economic and workforce development part of the college and the middle college programming. So I'd like to just take a moment and thank the entire middle college team for the incredible work that they do with students each day, the project-based learning, the ways that they're integrating real life experiences into the classroom, create rich and meaningful dialogue with the students and powerful learning. So appreciate the opportunity to be here with you all tonight. And I hope you don't have to stay too late. Did you see how I set that up for y'all?
Nice.
And I'd like to just mention to the students that College of San Mateo would love to host this wellness experience exchange. We have some really beautiful property and could absolutely be the host of that. Thank y'all.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. Good evening. So as you've heard from Andrea and from Dawn, we've grown a lot over the last few years. And as we continue to grow, our intention is to keep our program feeling small and to cultivate a deeper sense of belonging and community for our students. So some of the ways that we do this is through student-initiated and led clubs, peer-led study groups and tutoring, twice yearly field trips at least, such as our recent school-wide trip to UC Berkeley and Exploratorium, which Amy spoke to, our whole school community bonding days, and arguably most importantly, our 5-day fall orientation and our 2-day spring orientation. Our orientations are thematic experiences designed to introduce our new and returning students to the values that we intend to focus on as a community over the course of a semester and a year. This year's fall orientation engaged students in activities around courage, open-mindedness, self-awareness, and pursuing new connections. Our orientations are a way to ensure that our students that are new to our community and new to a college campus feel like they belong, their voices are valued, and they have friends and trusted teachers that they can turn to right from the start. And next, I'm going to invite my colleague Jason up, who will discuss the ways that we support our students throughout the school year.
Hi. So you've heard we've been growing, and with all this growth, we've really had to be intentional and deliberate about really building structures that keeps like each individual student at the heart of the support that's received. They came to a small learning community, so we want to make sure they felt that. And so these structures here is what really does that. The first one is the one-on-ones. Every 2 weeks, every student needs to meet with their advisor in a scheduled time outside of class. And it's just a chance really to give a sounding board to the student. The juniors are, sometimes struggling with the transition to college classes, and we kind of point them in the directions to support. The seniors, it's just a hard year. Senior year is a stressful year. So we are really a sounding board for them. And we keep kind of reminding them of the good habits they've established and point them in the directions of other supports that they need. But really, it's building that relationship with the students, which is very unique to our program. The other structure is the Kid Talk. It's a weekly meeting amongst the staff where the only thing on the agenda is students. Individual student concerns are brought up that we see in classes, or even trends that we're seeing in the junior class or senior class or community-wide. And then obviously we have conversations about next steps, how to support that or how to address the issues what we're seeing. The SLCs are a new facet of our program. It's a student-led conferences. The juniors just finished their first round a few weeks ago, and basically it was a conversation with the student, the advisor, and a parent/guardian. And it was a student-led conversation. They were talking about they're at a new school, they're taking college classes, they were talking about their experience with their parent at the table, with the support of the advisor to kind of hold their hand through the conversation. And the seniors have similar conferences at the end of their year, basically more of a reflection on their 2 years in the program and how much they've grown as part of it. The community quads is another new facet of the program. Basically, it's every student's part of a group of 4, 2 seniors, 2 juniors. And basically those seniors are resources for the juniors. The juniors have peers on campus that are their go-tos for questions that they have. They meet monthly. Just today they met, and the seniors help the juniors fill out their schedule for the college classes in the spring. It was fascinating to watch, really rewarding to watch as well. Another big part of our structure is just our advisory class. There's 2 parts to the advisory class. The first part are what we could call the flex days, where students have choice in how they will spend their time. They spend their time forming study groups, participating in just a traditional study hall to get work done. They go meet with their professors during office hours. They take advantage of CSM's learning centers. They go to the math resource center where they work with college tutors for their college level math classes. And that's also when they have their club meetings. It's basically 3 days a week for them to practice those things they'll have to do in college to be successful, accessing the resources on campus and work with peers to work through whatever class they're working through. The other 2 days are curriculum based. There's 2 basic themes of the curriculum. One is called future planning, where for the juniors, we really focus on the skills they need to be successful in college. Everything from note taking to how do you approach a professor during office hours? What type of questions do you ask? Things like that. And for seniors, it's all about college applications. We actually bring in a company called Flex College Prep. This is new to the year. They've led a couple sessions on the PIQs for the UC applications, and they are actually hosting one-on-one 30-minute meetings with students for free to help them with their college applications. It's really, it can be really groundbreaking for our students. The other aspect of the 2 days is a wellness curriculum. Wellness curriculum that we are using is called Wayfair. It came from Stanford's design thinking laboratory. And we basically, what are the wellness needs of our juniors? Well, they're at a new school, they're part of a new community. How do we help them do that? How do we help them put themselves out there in a new place? And the seniors, when they put those applications out there, they're vulnerable. And our wellness curriculum is really focusing on that. What's it like to be vulnerable, and what's it feel like to deal with some rejection sometimes too? We'll celebrate their successes as well. And I'd like to welcome our newly tenured staff member, Emily.
Yay. Hi, everyone. I don't know how to work this, so we'll figure it out together. Okay, there you go.
There we go.
All right. So since our program has grown, obviously that 2-teacher model wasn't going to work for over 200 kids, right? There's no way it was going to happen. So we've had to add some additional staff in order to support our program expansion. One of which is our amazing Allison Block that is here as our program coordinator. So as program coordinator, something that our staff was advocating for a lot was, hey, we're living in this in-between world, right? Between San Mateo, College of San Mateo and the SMUHSD district. And we really need support in just running everyday logistics, helping manage our budget, planning and facilitating some of the school-wide events, and we need someone that could help act as somewhat of a liaison with CSM, because while we're teaching classes, we can't necessarily go out and meet with everyone at CSM. While I'm having student meetings, I can't do that either. So the program coordinator really has helped a lot. She started with us full-time last year and continuing that work this year. And it's really helped also support our tier work support that we've been doing our MTSS work, making sure we're providing tier 1 support program-wide to all of our students, bringing in some of those outside supports like Flex to support the, college gearing, helping the kids apply to schools, and then, just helping overall with the day-to-day stuff that we need to get done at Middle College. With that being said, we also needed to add a math teacher, right? Because math, unfortunately, at the College of San Mateo, Algebra 2 was removed roughly a year to a year and a half ago. The equivalent to Algebra 2 at College of San Mateo was Math 120, and that was no longer offered. And what we found is that roughly, if we have 105 incoming students in the junior year, almost 50% of those students need to take Algebra 2 coming in as juniors. And it felt like, well, should we make that a requirement? That would be very much not equitable to the majority of the students that want to come to our program. We need to find a solution for that. So this year we brought on a math teacher that works at Cappuccino as well, Kira Bajira, and she does 2 sections of Algebra 2 for our roughly 47 students that are in that class. And for the spring semester, again, continuing to build that collaboration with CSM, we'll be co-teaching with a professor from CSM, a statistics course and a path to calculus course, so that our students can continue to be supported and they can go on to college level high school math instead of staying at the high school level math and losing a whole semester, a whole year of math and having to wait. So that's been really awesome to add those 2 roles to our program. The school counselor, that's me. If you have the presentation, you can see my picture. I look great. But yeah, so my job at Middle College is it's never ending. I love it. It's so good to always be able to support and help not only my students, but my staff, and really working for me on the development and implementation of MTSS tier support. I've been able to do that with the support of Lisa Lau here at the district office. She's been supporting the school counselors. And we've been doing a lot of work on, having outside support from hatching results, and just within our own group of counselors, really developing like, what does tier 1 look at our school sites? We have an amazing system with advisory, so that helps a lot of it. And I get to build that with my staff, and we get to kind of work together and see what that looks like, but also really focusing on what's our tier 2 supports and our tier 3 supports, and how can we look at the college to also leverage what is the support that we have there, right? Because we have all these amazing supports, and each of the school sites have them as well, but we can't ask students to go back, go all the way to Cappuccino and get that support at Cappuccino. We need to find the ways that we could build those supports on our campus. So definitely assisting that. I assist my students in their times of transition. So right now, a lot of college applications, a lot of one-on-one meetings on that. And then I also support my students staying at CSM, right? As a product of CSM myself, as a transfer student myself from the same school, I'm able to take what I've learned and the relationships I'm building at CSM to help support them if they plan to transfer, if they plan to tag to UC. So yeah, just continuing to support them in that process. And I also coordinate the 504s, which is always everyone's favorite part of being a school counselor, but definitely coordinate and collaborate as well with my IEP teams to make sure that when my student comes up from the homeschool, that they have the proper accommodations and the support that we can build at Middle College, even though it might look a little bit different when they're up there. We also have a part-time wellness counselor, Laura Kauth, who's amazing, is there Tuesday through Friday, and really continuing that work in the tiered work, a lot of the tier work, of course, through her supporting the IEP teams as well when they need that wellness staff to be part of those meetings, providing crisis support as needed, a lot of outside referrals. Laura is a great assistance to the family when they need additional help outside of what Middle College can provide. She's also been a really big support in building collaboration with College of San Mateo's wellness team. We've continued to partner with them for the last 2 years to not only bring presentations, but to see how we can refer some of our students to their caseload. So that's been a great support. And yeah, that is some of the additional staff we've added as our program has grown. Thank you.
Oh, the green one. Okay. Oh, shoot. Okay, I was there. Hi. Okay, so we have many ideas about where we want to go as a program. We know that we have a lot of room for growth and betterment. But one of the things that we are focused on, particularly in this moment, is our graduate profile. The intention of the graduate profile is to consolidate an impression of who middle college students are when they come to the program, what their experience is while they're there, and then to envision who we hope they feel they are as they leave and pursue their paths. We're being very deliberate in our process, gathering student data to inform the values that we want to center as a whole community. And we are iterating this profile consistently with students, with their families, with all of the MC staff to make sure that it remains alive and it isn't just something that's on a website, that we actually iterate it with every community that comes through the program. Once we consolidate these values, we hope to consider how we align our student skill building towards them across areas of academics, socio-emotional health, global and cultural competence, and life readiness. Our work on the profile is led by our amazing PD coordinator, Lisa Poblete, who could not be here tonight. And she ensures that the profile is rooted in the equity vision and mission of the district, as well as in student voice. Ultimately, our profile will serve as the anchor for all of our collaboration going forward around program curriculum and our tiered interventions. And if you are looking for additional information, you have your board memo. There's also a school profile that Ms. Block has created, Al has created, which has an incredible amount of information. We have our website, and you also have the middle college newsletter from the last few years, which is a great way of seeing this as a completely student-led newsletter, and it tells so much more about who we are and what we value at our program. And this is us. It's our small but mighty team. Thank you for listening to us talk about the program. We wanted to hold space for questions if you have them, but thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to the entire team. I'm going to open it up to questions. Anyone want to questions or comments? Okay.
I was just going back to the math one about the algebra 2. So am I understanding this right, that they take algebra 2 in just one semester and then the next semester they take, so it's like a whole year?
Correct.
Wow, that's great.
Well, I mean, that's what the college does too. So when the college did offer algebra 2, they would condense it into one semester.
So it's accelerated.
And it's accelerated.
That's,
yes.
Yeah, that's a lot. Okay, cool.
Go.
I just have thank you for the presentation. It's like real seamless tag teaming the whole thing. So,
Yes.
You know, there's a certain chemistry there. And, you know, I think the secret, or how are you going to feel small and grow? I mean, that is just going to be really difficult. And that's the campus up there is a big place. Is there some sort of magic that some plan you have, or something that we're going to just keep adding people and we're going to be personalized and one-on-one and all of that?
Well, one way we do it is we probably didn't cover this, but we have one common advisory period that all students are with their teachers at the same time. So college experiences, students go into many different directions, but their home base is their advisory period. And so all 205 students have advisory period at the exact same time, 11 o'clock, 11:10 every day. And so that is what we consider. I don't want to call it homeroom because that will feel very K-8, but it's sort of like the home base, their foundation. A lot of our foundational work's done in advisory.
So is there a theoretical capacity as to we could never grow beyond X? Is there an X that's been defined?
Yeah, I should have prepped our staff for that question, because I think the last time we presented, we were around 120 or 100 students, and that question came up, and Eureka, we expanded another 90 students. No, I think where we're at, I think we do not want to compete directly with our ever evolving dual enrollment program. We also do not want to compete directly with our ever evolving and maintaining programs such as Avid and other programs. So I think we have reached a point where, and then also space. So we need to make sure we have functional space that's dedicated to the middle college program that doesn't go beyond our building 12. And so I think where we're at is a pretty sweet spot. If there was expansion, it probably wouldn't be in the junior and senior year, in my opinion. But that's, go younger and get students prepared earlier.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have a
Anyone else?
comment.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you. I've heard from so many families, including my own son, that have gone through the program, and it's excellent. For some students, they just do well in these types of environments. And I'm really grateful that there's options for our kids, because that will help them succeed. Again, not everybody's for everything. So thank you very much for your dedication to our students.
I want to say thank you for the wonderful presentation. You guys, excellent job. I know you're looking for the button up there. I wouldn't know what button to press, but you guys did everything perfect and it was great. I think you had asked about the number. So what I know I probably missed the maximum number of students that can participate every year.
Right now it's 210.
210.
Yeah.
And
that's just because we every teacher can take 70, about 70. And so if you add up the numbers, that's what it comes out to.
Oh, that's great. And I understand there's usually a long waiting list. Is that right? There is.
I mean, so we have a lottery, then we create a wait list. We have a large number of students who will commit early, maybe not get the courses that they want through the college potentially, or the courses conflict with other requirements in the middle college program. So the wait list is normally we exhaust most of the wait list.
Okay.
Our first year of the lottery, we did exhaust the entire wait list.
Okay.
This year, I think we maybe had 12 to 15 students left on the wait list. They will be, if there's space going into the spring semester, we will offer them a spot.
That's great.
With the reality that a lot of those students are taking AP classes or taking IB classes or taking honors courses, and they may not want to leave mid-semester.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of after seeing this is the second time I've seen a presentation, because I think I saw the one last year. I'm not sitting here, but sitting in the audience. And I kind of regret neither of my daughters attended middle college, but your son did, and we have one of our student reps over here, Jamie. So it's a great program. Thank you for your presentation.
I'll take a turn.
I kind of want to go back to school now because of this.
I know, right?
Well, I got to tell you, last year's graduation was amazing. I really was impressed with how it was done. Actually, bringing back their gowns from their original high schools, but still having a connection with their original high school, but still being very uniquely middle college graduation. It was very, very impressive. I guess I've been on this board for, I don't know, 6 years, 7 years. I can't even count anymore. But what I find fascinating and what I think is really important to this district is that we have alternatives, that it's not just one size fits all. It's basically what Trustee Andrade Zuniga is talking about. You offer a unique program. And I think, size is going to be an issue, but it's successful. And you're building it and you're continuing to improve. It's not just the current practice, but it's expanding that practice. And what, talking about new relationships with the college and how that's going to work, but also not competing with other alternatives and what that looks like. It's a difficult road, but I got to say, you guys are doing an outstanding job. I think Trustee Griffin said it really well. There's a chemistry that we feel that comes across very obviously to us. And it's really great that you have this program for our students in this district. So again, one size doesn't fit all. And that's what we want to do, is we want to be able to have alternatives like middle college so that we have opportunities and for our students, and that they're successful and enjoying it and engaged. And I see it. And I saw it in graduation, and I see it here just with the teachers and with your staff. So thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Congratulations. And we're really kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On that note, We have our next presentation. So Superintendent Booker, do you want to take that away?
I'm going to just hand it over to Dr. Black through HR services.
All right.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
Just a time check, 10 to 9, just so you know.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay. So here we are.
Keep that in mind.
This presentation is regarding an equity audit that we did last year, and we would like to go over some of the findings and the recommendations and suggestions from the auditor. This is really, the district's push towards equity is a district-wide effort led by the board and many people in this room, and of course, students, families, our community, with the goal to be inclusive to our diverse community. In January of 2022, the district approved the racial equity policy here and also the administrative regulation. And in the policy, it has 8 areas that are to be pursued. And the first 2 are develop and maintain a culture of inclusion and belonging and advancing the representation of BIPOC individuals. The third one is to conduct a review of all district-wide policies and procedures with a racial equity lens, which is what this DEIA audit did, but we did include accessibility and gender to this audit. The racial equity AR has several elements, but the first 3 that are listed are the main goal of the racial equity administrative regulation is fighting racism and being an inclusive and welcoming environment for BIPOC students, staff, and their families, and then eradicating opportunity gaps for BIPOC students. In last spring, the board approved the DEIA audit by the DG Coaching and Consulting firm who facilitated the audit. And this is a introduction from the president, David Gamble of DG Coaching.
Hi, my name is David Gamble, owner and founder of DG Coaching and Consulting. San Mateo has made remarkable strides in advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility initiatives, taking steps to transform its organizational culture and workforce into a vibrant tapestry of voices and perspectives. By fostering a collaborative atmosphere where everyone's voice is valued and respected, the district has demonstrated a commitment to embrace the unique backgrounds of its employees, cultivating a sense of belonging that fuels creativity and innovation. Through targeted recruiting efforts, DEIA training programs, and the commitment to evolving the DEIA journey, your district has cultivated inclusion that has made strides towards opportunities for underrepresented individuals that thrive and lead.
These are some quotes from some interviewees from the DEIA audit. As you can see that there's appreciation for the district's intent and the progress that's been made. Of course, this work is continuous and there are always new challenges. But these quotes are indicative that we're making some progress and moving in a positive direction. However, as detailed in the next few slides, 3 of our 4 focus groups reported that we have urgent needs that need to be addressed. The first audit group, or the first focus group, was our certificated staff, which were mostly teachers, and a significant percentage reported experiencing unfair treatment due to race or gender at work. The question didn't ask by who, but the fact is that a good portion of our staff is feeling unfair treatment at work, and this is a paramount concern for the district. A subsequent question asked if the certificated staff feel that they were treated with dignity by other groups that would include students, other teachers, administrators, and other staff. The worst of these results indicated that 64% of teachers feel that students treat them with dignity only some of the time. And respect for staff is really the backbone of a strong school, so this result is a major concern. A common teacher suggestion was the need for more staff restrooms and then gender neutral student restrooms.
Our first focus group was conducted with certificated staff. They suggested providing additional DEIA training for leadership and administration, allocating site-level resources and/or dedicated resources to address systemic DEIA issues.
The next group was the classified focus group, and over a quarter of the classified respondents reported experiencing unfair treatment due to race, and then a similar percentage reported unfair treatment due to other reasons that weren't identified. 1/3 of the classified staff feel valued at work only to a low extent. There were different answers there, and a third picked to a low extent, which is, of course, something we need to immediately address. And ideas from the classified staff to address those first two bullets were a process to communicate upward, both to make reports and to provide suggestions, increase collaboration opportunities with with certificated staff, and then training for advancement within the district so staff can remain in the district as they grow their careers.
Our second group was held with classified employees. This group focused on upward communication, inclusivity resolutions, and access to opportunities and resources. They expressed the need for more opportunities and resources for ongoing development and training for other job opportunities within the district. This group would like to see equity addressed among the school systems and recommended improving communication systems and increasing collaboration between classified and certificated staff.
Another focus group were the new hires, and it's always good to hear some feedback from people with some fresh eyes. And the new hires had some good recommendations, I believe. They recommended that PD perhaps be delivered more by teachers and on topics that they encounter as teachers, having more opportunity for the application of the PD topics, expanding diversity training to other areas, and perhaps a lower volume of training in exchange for more collaboration.
The third focus group was for new hires. They highlighted the importance of less performative actions, supporting marginalized students, and hiring individuals with prior DEIA exposure. The new hire focus group also suggested enhancing professional development to include areas other than race. They also would like to have an opportunity to evaluate the impacts and allow teachers to have input into the topics for DEIA professional development.
A student focus group, the student felt that the district does provide an inclusive environment. However, sizable percentages of students reported feeling gender and racial bias at school. In terms of the extent of that gender and racial bias, 20% stated it exists to a large extent, and 50% stated somewhat. And of course, we know that bias exists, and we try to mitigate it through awareness and training and disruption. But this is an area where we have work to do in order to make sure our students aren't experiencing it at school, and certainly not learning it at school or school events. The students were also asking about accessibility issues, and the list was long, but some of the more frequent ones were cleaner restrooms, access to mental health services, and places to eat lunch. Administrators and managers were interviewed individually, and they supported the district's call for action to address discrepancies with student outcomes, as has been the district's top goal really since the start of the LCAP. And along these lines, engaging students with IEPs and making sure they are integrated and involved as much as possible was another main focus of our leaders. Administrators felt that to fulfill the first two bullets on the screen, that district resources should be allocated in a manner that provides comparative experiences for students throughout the district. They mentioned that our staff becoming more and more diverse is a success and should continue, as it's providing many positive benefits.
Through extensive interviews with 14 members of the leadership team, several leaders specifically identified an appreciation for the progress and improvements in the following areas: impressive professional development offerings, commitment to DEIA issue improvement, positive shift in awareness of issues, increased conversations, and improved hiring practices.
Okay, there are interviewers, people that took part in the revised interview procedures made up a separate, an additional focus group. And this group reported that the revised interview process supported diversity. Also that the required implicit bias training was reported as providing insight into implicit bias and a meaningful self-assessment for those on the panel. As we reviewed early, one of the tenets of the racial equity policy is to advance the representation of Black, Indigenous, people of color at all levels in the district. And one approach towards meeting this objective is through recruitment and hiring and promotion. This slide is our teacher recruitment demographic, and it has become more diverse over the past few years. The trend of our percentages of Latinx and Asian and white hiring is closer to our student percentage than it has been. This slide is a 3-year trend of just the certificated teacher hiring. It looks back to the school year 2021. And Latinx hiring, as you can see, is trending higher. White is trending lower. And the hiring of 2 or more races is higher, has been increased in this 3-year span. This slide is our classified hiring for this year. We continue to hire a very diverse set of candidates. Our hiring percentages are very close to our student percentages in Latinx and well over for African American, American Indigenous, and Filipino staff. We are under an Asian and Pacific Islander staff. This slide is a 3-year look back at classified hiring. The trends aren't as clear from year to year in some of the categories, but the American Indigenous, Asian, and Filipino staff percentages have grown remarkably, have grown well over the last 3 years. This year was the second year of offering a relocation recruitment bonus to people that live outside of the 9 Bay Area counties. The rationale for this recruitment bonus was to attract more diverse candidate pool into our certificated staff and into the district. And in regards to that, it's worked pretty well this year, as all 3 hires who qualify for this are all BIPOC individuals. We can move now to a summary of the findings and conclusions of the audit. One caveat, the DEIA audit is linked into the board memo. There's 2 separate reports. They're lengthy, they're detailed. Certainly they covered multiple aspects of all the different categories of DEIA. And the following slides will inevitably leave out some important aspects of the audit and their findings. This is not intentional. And what is on the following slide isn't necessarily indicative of the order of importance. Although it's difficult to highlight just a few things for the 5 groups that we had, we try to do it here. Most students on high percentages feel that the district is a place where they belong, they feel belonging, and that the district supports diversity. The classified feel that the district communicates DEIA issues well, and that the training was meaningful. They expressed that they would like to work more closely with certificated staff, which is a positive, and they look forward to advancing their careers within the district as opposed to looking outside of the district. The certificated staff feels that the district is very supportive of collaboration and the response to DEIA issues. The new hires, it was confident that the district addressed DEIA well, and they experienced equity during the interview process. And for the interviewers, most agreed that the interview panel process supports diversity and was an improvement. Although the district has many noted strengths and progress, it's difficult to focus on these when some of the things on this slide are happening. For example, racial and gender bias. Sizable percentages of staff and students feel that racial and gender bias exist to a large extent on our campuses. Sizable percentages of certificated and classified report experiencing unfair treatment due to race, gender, and other reasons. Obviously, these are both imperative calls to actions. Other areas of growth include making sure that student opportunities are equitable throughout the district, We heard that many times, and making sure our professional growth, our professional development is applicable to those taking it while providing advancement opportunities to diverse groups of employees. The next two slides are the consultant's suggestions for improving the DEI performance of the district. The ones listed here again are some. There's more. These are some of the highlights of the ones that were more repetitive. Diversity sections, and they broke it down into the different components. So the diversity suggestions include recognizing employee and student contributions and celebrating milestones along our journey. Also working towards and acknowledging that diverse teams lead to better decision-making and leadership. Along these lines, we want to commit, or they suggest to commit, providing continuous leadership development programs to our diverse staff. For inclusion, the suggestions include soliciting feedback from our employees and students, sharing ideas that foster inclusivity, and eliminating isolation of BIPOC individuals in terms of their assignment and placement. For equity suggestions included allocating assets to make sure there are equitable opportunities for all students, empowering employees to easily communicate DEIA gaps, and providing collaboration opportunities. Accessibility suggestions included an audit for facility access and barriers, and there are a number outlined in the report, but they also suggest an assessment, of other barriers beyond facilities, such as access to student activities for all of our students, emergency communication and methods and procedures for students of different abilities, and generally available assistance to those in need. And this slide is a closing remark from DG Consulting.
Through targeted recruitment efforts, DEIA training programs, and a commitment to evolving the DEIA journey, your district has cultivated inclusion and made strides toward opportunities for underrepresented individuals to thrive and lead. In the climate survey that DG Coaching and Consulting conducted, it was evident the overall agreement of surveyed individuals was that the district supports diversity, and the comfort level of employees discussing DEIA was positive. This is not easy to accomplish. Many organizations never reach this point in their DEIA efforts, and this is definitely something to celebrate and acknowledge.
So yes, there's a lot to celebrate and acknowledge. And again, this has been a district-wide effort. A lot of people are committed to this. This is one of the most passionate things that people do and people want to see is on our journey. We welcome board comments and feedback. So first, I would like to share that the intention for us now is to work with our staff, our employee associations, our equity committees, students, families, the community, and follow through on the glaring needs that we have that were generated from this audit, and continue to grow. We would like to present an update on those efforts at one of the May meetings in 2024, and again the following year. It takes a while to change a culture, but we hope those will be times we can really share some milestones and some positive movement. Lastly, in the presentation, there's an appendix, and that it includes a lot of data that we would usually have in this HR presentation that we typically have each year in October. However, this year we focused mainly on the audit. So we do welcome back comments.
So,
and Ren.
Yeah, if I could just add one other thing. One, I want to really thank and commend Dr. Black and his team for all the efforts. As you saw, this presentation is vividly different than in years past. Every year I've looked back, we have an HR presentation, we talk a lot about new hires and race and ethnicity and those kinds of things. And I think it was important that we did this audit because it goes back to my stance around, we do a really good job of celebrating our successes, but we need to be extremely direct about where we need to improve. And this is one of the things I appreciated about the presentation, is that it highlighted strengths, and we shouldn't ignore those. There's a lot of great things that are going on in this district and with all of our educators. But there are also some real glaring areas where we need to improve, and we didn't want to sugarcoat that or paint over it. So we kind of lay it out at your feet, and at the same time, it's going to take time. to shift the culture. We're going to come back in the spring, and we'll come back again next year and talk about some of the programs and endeavors that we're looking to engage with to make some significant changes. So, Dr. Black, thank you so much.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to questions. Anyone? Bob, go ahead.
Well, you know, I'm going to talk about a topic we've been talking about for 8 or 10 years. Gender neutral bathrooms. I mean, you know, it is something that came up when we toured San Mateo when they were redoing the music building and the industrial arts, and we were talking about the lack of gender neutral bathrooms because people, you know, there never was a balance. And you know, I hope that when our planners and every time we redo something, that we'll really take that into consideration, because I think that you know, that's both, you know, that's a real world kind of thing that creates problems. I remember the Hillsdale a few years ago, it came up in ethnic studies class. Somebody had it was a project and we talked about it. And I came back to the board talking about it. And I guess we're still talking about it. It would seem to be something that that we probably could fix without a lot of cost, and definitely going forward. And I don't know why I'm looking at you, Yancy, like you're going to go magically change all that, but I think it's something we really need to look at.
Yeah, I just want to note, at least on the going forward part, in both of our new gym facilities, there are gender neutral changing spaces that have been included at San Mateo and at Burlingame. So it is something that is on our radar as we look to do new construction or modernization. We are looking for the ability to update current spaces or build new spaces that meet this need. So yeah, I think we can, obviously the information and the feedback is that we still need to continue doing that. But as we move forward, we are absolutely looking at that.
I mean, as you said, Dr. Black, that we have in areas to grow, and in facilities, that's something that we need to keep looking at if we're talking about access and, you know, really trying to say what we're trying to do with diversity and inclusion.
The other, and this is just a comment, you know, this is really about, you know, when we're looking at attitude, you know, we're looking at attitudes and responses and perceptions, and we're kind of we're trying to do quantitative data because we're using a survey, you know, and we're throwing a number out, but it's really difficult to assess how bad the attitudes are. You know, it's kind of, it's hard to articulate, but it's just, you know, it's like, is there a better way we could, you know, we're doing anecdotal stuff, and I know we're not doing, and it's probably not measurable, but it is a difficult thing to get our arms around, because, you know, you can have somebody that, and I'm sure when we went through our diversity or DEI training, that people just either don't know how to present themselves, or something that one person says that is meant to be welcoming becomes offensive. You know, because, you know, to one group, man, why you say that? You know, or the other group is, well, you know, come on, you know, you people, whoever you people are, you know, and you know, sometimes people don't mean it. And I guess we just have to redouble our efforts in terms of, I don't know, sensitivity training, or I don't know what the proper terms are.
Yeah, I don't know there's so many terms, but that's absolutely right. You know, we get a lot of complaints in HR, you know, we get the complaints, and some of the complaints are, you know, people feel that no matter if it was men or not, they feel it. And that's where the training comes in. But there's just so many aspects of training. I mean, we train on how to teach, we train on how to interact, we train on, you know, what are these words to avoid, or what they, you know, have different meanings to different people, how to hire, how to interview, how to make sure we're not placing people, pigeonholing people because of, you know, who they are, how they look. making sure they're not feeling isolated. I mean, it's just, like Julia and Savvy are here and they lead our PD. There's just so many different aspects to it to create a really inclusive and a diverse and equitable campus with accessibility. There's just a lot of things to it. I will say though, because you said, well, how many people are out there? All of the groups, there's high percentages that felt that the district communicates DEIA issues well, that they support DEIA issues and communicates it and supports it, and students feel like it's a place of belonging. But that doesn't, that doesn't iron out the feelings that people have when they're faced with this either unfair treatment or gender and race and other biases. And that's hard to stamp out when it's hard to label it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, it's a progress. It's a process. I mean, we're making progress, but it's a long process.
It's a very long process. I lost track and this is sort of related, but that student somewhere in the South who had been sent to reform school or something because of a hairstyle that he refused. I don't know if anybody heard that, but I was just wondering because I thought it was against, it was something about hairstyles and things there cannot be biases against anybody's hairstyle. And it was a punitive thing. And I'm sure that, everybody has their own hair and hair is important to many people. It's your personality. It's many ways. It's how you express yourself, and sometimes maybe it's not well received or you don't get the reaction. So anyway, that's enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
Dr. Black, this is excellent information here. So thank you for putting this together. And I took a lot of notes. I'll just ask a couple of questions. I think on page 10. Well, first of all, let me go on page 22, the areas for growth. So I think it's great to identify the strengths and to identify areas for growth. So it's great that we have a lot of strengths, and it's great that we have areas for improvement, areas for growth. So for areas for growth, I had just something to mention about professional development and ensuring that trainings are tailored to the participants instead of a one size fits all. That plus that coupled with the comment on page 10, which mentions less professional development that frames diversity issues as just quote race or quote unquote white supremacy, and more that includes other areas of diversity. So looking at page 10 and page 22, it seems like staff was looking for a different subject in the PD day, but then that kind of contradicts what we heard earlier this year, I thought, when folks said that we had a wonderful professional development day. So I just wanted to know if you could speak to that. And also secondarily, and we have our union leaders, and I'm sure that we can tap in to find out what PD day does staff really desire, right? What could really help them out, right?
Right. Well,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I don't think that, okay, so there were some comments there that it's from a lot of people that they would like to expand the diversity training beyond race, but I don't think that meant that they didn't appreciate the PD on race. They wanted to expand it to LGBTQ plus, maybe religion, et cetera. Let me think for a minute. The comment about the one size fits all, some of that came from the classified, and we did have 2 days where all the classified were in one bill and some of them said it would be nice if I could use that topic that we were learning, equity and diversity, but have some time to collaborate with my group that I see every day so we could develop each other. It was a safe space. So that was one of them.
That makes sense. Thank you.
I mean, I think the reason why we went with race that as a district and maybe to the exclusion of others, and maybe that could be, is there's just so much, it's such a heightened part of diversity and so much that you need to, everything kind of goes into that. And there's so much that you need to learn there. And I mean, we could have PD days on race forever.
Totally.
But, I think the thought was that we also should weave in some other things that maybe we were excluding because we were more focused on
Okay,
race.
and that's what that comment was probably.
Yeah, I
about,
don't think it was a
yeah,
criticism. I
right.
think it was
Adding in
let's do
something
more, let's
more.
expand it,
Got
and let us kind of digest what we're learning and then apply it either with the people that we work with or in our groups. And that could be teachers too, like their subject matter, but a lot of it I think was coming from classified.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I have something.
Go ahead.
In going away from just focusing on race, I would like to see, in terms of like physical space, accessibility evaluated in our district. There are places that have consultants that come out to do report cards on accessibility for people who have different disabilities, different just needs, whatever it is. I recommend that we do that. I know it might open up a can of worms that might be expensive, but if we're really talking about DEIA, we have to really get serious about what we're lacking. The other thing too is the way that, I guess, as a board, we have our equity policies and things like that. But in the past, I'm thinking about the past like 6 months or 9 months, in how even people in our like on our faculty and our staff has been targeted. Like, how as a board do we respond to things like that? Like, how are we going to have a uniform voice to say that's not cool? Like, no matter what, like how different we are, how similar we are, doesn't matter. How do we protect our staff, our community, our parents, our kids from attacks like that? Because that is cancerous, and it makes people feel like they're not part of our community. So I think we should talk about that as a board. Maybe we could have a study session on our own about that, but I just think that's really important. And then I had something else I forgot, but go ahead. Does anybody else have something else to say?
Okay.
Yeah, kind of going along with what Trustee Griffin was saying about how can we get a little more qualitative with this? When I look at the things that say a quarter experience gender bias, 1/5 racial bias, do we have any sense of like what those interactions are? What does that look like? Or what was the other one? 28% have experienced unfair treatment due to race and 26% due to other reasons. Do we know what those other reasons might be? I just wonder, I don't know if this survey went deeper because I didn't look at it. Maybe there were more appendix, but I guess how can we capture more of that qualitative information so that it can be addressed? That's my question.
Right. It's in the report, and it was a real challenge because it does get detailed, and it has percentages of the different reasons: race, gender, accessibility, and then it has 5 answers for each of them and for each group. So the students, so it's got the categories and then 5 answers and percentages each, and then all 5 groups that did it. So I picked out the ones that were admittedly either the worst or the best, because the worst because we need to focus on it, the best because it was high percentages and it was good to put in there. But I mean, maybe it is, I don't know if study says, but maybe it is more in-depth work looking at this than a presentation, by just one part of a board meeting, because there's a lot here. Or maybe we could go through and have, questions from there.
I just wondered if it was captured somehow and you guys have it. You're just
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
And if not, we can always, do more work in areas that you didn't feel were captured.
So
thanks for the presentation.
Yeah.
And a good job. We had a lot of, I think the consultants said a lot of good things, and that's nice to hear.
And I think I want to emphasize that there's definitely some things that are positive and a growth. The hiring practices have been improved. I know you've been working on it for years, the whole department, and it really is showing. And you can see over the 3 years, the growth in certain areas. And I know we're doing that. We still have work to do.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, but I feel like that is something that over the last few years, we've really improved on, is the hiring practices and have it more equitable. I also feel like I think our leadership, district leadership, including board leadership, has been very positive in the sense that when you really look at the strengths, you feel that there's the sense of belonging. You feel that there's a sense of community, and that is happening through our leadership and through the leadership of the board, the superintendent, the departments. And I think that's genuine. I think that is really part of what we're doing. But again, I'm going to echo, so then the flip side is then echoing what Trustee, Andrade Zuniga was talking about, where there is some vitriol and hate and issues that are happening regularly in the community, in the board meetings, and then I'm going to really touch upon what the racist and gender biased, the use of derogatory language and slurs are heard around the school. This is something that is happening in our community with students, student on students, students with students, and it is a learned behavior, and that is where we have to stop. I don't have the answers because this is true of my middle school just as much as it's true of all the high schools. And in some degrees, it is a underlying problem that we have to find solutions to. It goes beyond hiring in HR, but it's something that we have to talk. Maybe that is what the study session is about, rather than just what we're talking about at this level, because I really admire how we've gotten this evaluation. We did this audit. I'm really praising both of you, the whole departments, for doing this. But I think the deeper problem goes into that first category when we talk about areas of growth. And because it's common, it's happening, it's real, and it hasn't changed. And then we've seen it and again, as adults, we're doing it as adults in board meetings with parents and community members. And we're seeing it in schools all the time. And we're seeing it in the school. And it's, sometimes it's out there at the very top with fighting and interactions at that level, a very heated environment, but also just exactly what was put here, the use of the derogatory language and slurs just are happening in common practice with kids interacting in the hallways. So whatever we can do, I think it's important that we try. It just, this audit has put a microscope or a magnifying glass, whatever you want to call it, onto the situation. And I think that right there is the one thing that I think we need to work on, because I think our leadership is good. I think we are in a good place. We've done a lot of training, but it's beyond just us. And that's where we have to kind of come up with, it's beyond just our HR and our employees. It's really the students and our community, and how do we work on that beyond? So anyway.
Well, and if we really want to grow, it's not going to always feel good. I mean, we have, like in anything, right? Whatever we do when we're trying to do our own personal growth, like you have to address things that are not comfortable sometimes. One of the things that I forgot to mention was having, like, in terms of representation, I don't see any educators that are physically disabled. Like, do we seek out people that have physical disabilities, or is that something that is considered maybe not so favorable because of, I don't know, safety or whatever, thoughts there are? But I remember a friend of mine, he has a high-level spinal cord injury. He's also a quad, and he applied to be a teacher in this district. And he was not hired because they said that if there was an emergency, what would he do? And so it's like, people think about what to do all the time. It's like, it's not in this district. And it was, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, but it happened. And I still don't see a lot. There may be 1 or 2, but we need, if we want our students to really understand diversity, and it has to be all diversity, so yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you very much for the report. It really is giving us insight into where we need to go. I hope you take what we had talked about as, and Superintendent Booker, I hope you take that into consideration when we talk about future agenda items.
For sure.
Okay. Moving right along, we're going to the Human Resources Personnel Consent Agenda. Dr. Black, you
Yes.
get more.
Yeah, thank you. Okay,
You're on
we
again.
do have personnel actions. Oh, and the consent agenda.
Yeah.
If we get past that.
That's what I said first.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry.
So let's start with that. Any highlights or anything for the consent or?
No, it's on the addendum.
Okay.
I'll move adoption.
Okay, motion made by trustee Griffin,
I'll second that. Okay.
seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried 5-0. Okay, moving on to the Division of Human Services Personnel Actions Addendum.
Yeah, so we have one acknowledgement for retirement classified AJ Pratrat, our student nutrition services assistant at Hillsdale, is retiring at the December 28th after 22 years and 2 months in the district.
Thank you. That is a good acknowledgement. Okay,
And move to approve.
okay, motion by trustee Andrade Zuniga,
Second.
seconded by trustee Griffin. Personnel Actions Addendum. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Approval of multilingual learner independent study teacher job description.
Yeah, so this is an hourly position for independent study that would just pertain to our multilingual students. We have independent study teachers now, but this one is directly for multilingual language students.
Okay, motion.
I'm
Okay, motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga,
I'll second it.
seconded by trustee Chavez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carried 5-0. Motion approval of the athletic director and coaching job descriptions.
Yeah, so we've had a varsity head coach job description, but we haven't had a JV head coach and we haven't had an assistant coach. So those are all in here. And then we modified the athletic director to just include them water safety. It wasn't, we had left it out. So
Okay.
those are the three.
I move
Thank you
to
for the
approve the
clarification.
job descriptions.
Okay, motion made by trustee Andrade Zuniga,
Second.
seconded by trustee Griffin. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you. Moving on to board operations. Review. So actually, I don't know if anybody else has talked about it, but my only concern in part 2 was we were talking about inter-district attendance. Are we changing policy as a result of these changes? Because I wasn't too sure. I mean, trust me, I did a quick look and I wasn't feeling confident in, are we changing policy as a result of this, or is this just an adaptation? Because it did feel to me, I looked at the website section, that was totally fine. But then when I started doing the inter-district transfer stuff, I was like, wait a minute. What are we changing?
Is that in June or September?
I looked at changes. I looked at the changes in the red part. So like inter-district attendance BP 5177B was removed and lots of changes were taken out. Choice. And maybe I just need some clarification if you don't mind. So if we can just take it off and just, maybe I can answer some, you can answer some.
We can
questions
put in the
email.
weekly, I'll work with Mr.
And I'll
Catena.
send an email to you just to kind of say,
Yeah.
hey, these are my concerns.
Yeah, I know Mr.
Okay.
Catena went through it, but we can write out
appreciate
what
that.
it all means.
I appreciate that. Anyone else have any questions on this part? Okay. So can we just bring that one back?
Mhm.
Okay. So then the next one is the part 1. Any questions on that one? I didn't.
Good.
Okay. So so if there's no questions on that, we'll put that on the consent agenda for next time.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Future agenda items. We made it to the end and it's 9:35. So let's keep going. This is it. Anything on the agenda you want to be put, or any suggestions or recommendations? Going once, going twice. Sold. All right. We're going to adjourn. Thank you very much for the wonderful meeting. Meeting adjourned.